Fabinho might not be going to Al Ittihad. Apparently, his deal is in jeopardy. There's also some talk from a player out on loan who spoke about Jurgen Klopp and a projected bid that happened for Liverpool. Hello, everybody. I'm Sideline Sedo. Welcome back to the Sideline Sedo YouTube channel. And today I'm going to be talking about a bunch of stuff. But before I get into that, if you end up enjoying the video, consider subscribing because I cover a lot of transfer news. Haven't in the last couple of days because it's kind of been slow, but also I've been streaming, so check that out. I will be live later today. Thank you for watching. Let me get into it. Fabinho. He apparently wasn't going to go to Al Ittihad because of something to do with his Bulldogs. That was the rumor. Apparently, Bulldogs are banned from being owned in Saudi Arabia. So people were speculating that apparently Fabinho wouldn't make the switch. So, what do I think about this? Right out the gates, I mean, if he were to stay, like here's the quote from Ornstein says, it has been rumored that the deal could be scuppered by an apparent rule in Saudi Arabia banning the breed of dogs Fabinho owns. However, any doubts over the move has nothing to do with his two French bulldogs. But if you remember, earlier in the week, there was a report that came out that suggested that Bayern Munich was also interested. Now, my first thought as a Liverpool fan is there any possibility in which Fabinho does move to Bayern and now Bayern's entering the picture, therefore Liverpool is going to look for a fee of maybe closer to 45 because this is being projected to be a 40 million pound package for Fabinho. So, if that is the case, that's good news. If it isn't the case, I'd say it's also still good news. Henderson leaving is a whole whirlwind of both emotions and just general complications for Liverpool. It changes the captain. It loses some senior squad depth at that position. You lose a homegrown player. It's a bunch of stuff all wrapped in one, and the fee is not that large. So it's like it's all happening for roughly 12, 13 mil to be paid for Liverpool. So it's not necessarily the best situation financially, but if Fabinho were to stay, see the squad depth looking a lot sharper. And I still think Fabinho has a good 2, 3 years left in him. I think he had a couple seasons where he kind of tapered off, but we shall see. And I'll keep you guys updated. The possibility of apparently Fabinho even rejoining his teammates at AXA Training Center, unless a breakthrough can be made in advance. So effectively, it seems like that move is stalled, but not necessarily diminish the desire of all to sign Fabinho. So is this negotiation tactics? Kind of something going on here. I don't know. We'll see. But Fabio Carvalho out on loan. He mentioned that it's a no-brainer to join Leipzig. Um, there's a lot of kind of talk suggesting that Carvalho isn't satisfied with his time at Liverpool. He's not talking to Jurgen Klopp. That was the big quote that caught everyone's eye. Like, yeah, no, he doesn't talk to me or something like that. But I think that Fabio is a guy, a player he seems fairly direct, personality trait wise. Like here, I'm a creative player and I'm good on the ball. I work hard too, and not just for myself, but for Sabasai is a really good player. I've got confidence. So he's happy with this opportunity. But he says this is kind of relative context to Klopp. He said perhaps surprisingly, Klopp wasn't an influence on that decision. He and Carvalho didn't talk about the window effect in the Liverpool manager's homeland. I don't really speak to him, so he doesn't give me any advice. I have to just learn as I go, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I feel like that's better anyway for me to mature as a player. I don't really speak to him. Is the quote that has been really making the rounds on Twitter, on sorts of social medias. Um, and when I first read it, I was like, wow, that's pretty crazy. But the context of this article, it says Carvalho popped in talk about the Bundesliga, what to expect. So I could see this as being, either like him just kind of mentioning that, but maybe it's also the situation that, if he isn't necessarily starting week in, week out, he's not really getting much advice from Klopp. Maybe he's not having tons of one time, which wouldn't shock me. I mean, it's not like Carvalho has been playing for a while, but it is kind of perplexing what got it to this point. People that say maybe it's, his incapabilities, to play on the wing or at center mid, because he is a 10 at the end of the day, and we didn't play with a 10 last. But there's a lot surrounding Carvalho that is kind of like questionable to me as to whether or not there is, say, you know, an attitude issue potentially, or it's just down to fit. Then as a result, it's kind of caused him to have to kind of like fall down the pecking order because there's a change in style, but also he just wasn't going to be able to fill the roles that the change in style brought about. But we'll see. I mean, I wish the best for Fabio. I will never forget that Newcastle goal scored. He's honestly a really good talent. But between this and Portugal fiasco, we'll see how his career. But finally, this is the biggest news today, I'd say. Southampton rejecting £37 million bid for Romeo Lavia. Lavia is a guy who I would really love to the club. Like, I would love to see him play Liverpool shirt. I think he's a great fit. Quota thing is huge. He count as homegrown. Um, City also are looking to sign Romeo Lavia potentially, or have the possibility to at least in the next summer transfer window. So not this summer transfer window, but next year they have a release clause that can be activated, and effectively they could go on and sign him back with the buyback clause. So what do I think about this? There's not much to the story. Uh, like kind of says that, and then just a bunch of fill. Um, I think that Romeo Lavia might get signed by Liverpool, but I do fear that Southampton's really going to be like, you know what, like we want 50, and if we don't get 50, we're going to get 40. So you got to give us at least like 40 to 50, which is what the fee has been estimated at. But Liverpool's been working to try to, you know, get that price down. So we'll see. I mean, he, there could be like another player who emerges as alternative to Romeo Lavia. There could be a player who's involved in the deal as a make weight. Like obviously Nat Phillips is linked with Leeds, but Liverpool, if you looked at the transfer business this summer, Alexis McAllister, James Milner joined Brighton on free, so it kind of helped our negotiations with them. Tomek Soboslai, Fabio Carvalho joined on a loan, so that kind of eases that kind of whole situation and allows it to be a bit more amicable. Even though that the release clause was paid, it kind of just makes the relationship between the clubs better. And if anyone has been watching football for a while, Southampton hates Liverpool. They have every right to. I mean, Liverpool's been poaching players from Southampton for the better part of a decade, maybe even a decade now. So you look at it and it's like they don't want to lose this really talented defensive midfielder who could be a tremendous help to them in championship, but they would need a lot of funds to replace him. And Liverpool is a team that has kind of, you know, Sadio Mane, Virgil van Dijk, um, big players for Liverpool, even Lover and Lallana, more rotational players, fine at a certain point. Um, but you look at the squad and you think that effectively this at Liverpool doesn't need to invest 40 mil on an 18-year-old. I don't know, but comment down below. Do you think Liverpool should continue to pursue Romeo Lavia? Do you think that they should start considering alternatives? What are you thinking about for this upcoming current transfer? Do you think that Liverpool will get over the line and make the types of signings they need to make to compete next season? Or do you think that we're going to start reaching more and more roadblocks like the Fabinho deal or this rejected proposal? Sorry for the bad news regarding the club today. Nothing really too exciting front, but thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider giving it a like, subscribe down below. I'm Sideline Sedo.